Guys, if you don't listen to anything in this video, this is the most important thing in getting an A star or grade 9 in your exam. So you have 20 or more exams in over 30 days. How do you prioritize your time and how do you balance them? How do you study when you have so many priorities and so many exams going on? How do you find your balance? Is there even a point of revising during this time period? Hey guys, my name is Shola and I got all grade 9s and A stars in my GCSEs and A levels, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to revise in between your exams in order to maximize your time and get the best possible grades that you can. Let's get straight into it. I know you guys don't have a lot of time to waste, so guys, just be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and let's jump straight into the video and get started. So let's start off with stage 1, which is organization. Guys, this 30 days will pass by so quickly, like you won't even believe it. You guys need to make sure you use your time wisely and that you do as much as you can with the time that you have. The best way to do this is to know what exams you have and when, and also identify any time gaps between your exam, because this will be the best time where you can get in that last minute revision that could make or change your grade. So what I would recommend is make a simple exam timetable. I know your school probably gives you one, but if it's too complicated or if it's too much to read, be sure to make a basic timetable labeled from 1 to how many exams you have, and just include the subject and the paper. Put this on your wall and make sure that you see it all the time so that you're always aware of when you have an exam. You shouldn't come back after one weekend and realize that you have biology paper 2. Like, you should know that already. This is how I made mine. I printed it out and I put it on the wall, and it was basically like a source of motivation as well, because I would think, okay, I have this exam in 2 days, I need to buckle down. So I really recommend doing this because it really helps you. As well as this, guys, if you don't listen to anything in this video, this is the most important thing in getting an A star or grade 9 in your exam. Don't over prioritize paper 1, especially if you're GCSEs. You probably feel really stressed. This is like your first real big exam and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I need to get amazing paper 1, I need to revise, I need to do this, blah blah. I'm telling you now, don't fall into this trap. Obviously you need to revise, you need to put in your all, you need to do what you can for this paper, but at the end of the day, even if you got 100% in paper 1, if you didn't revise paper 2, you're not gonna get a good grade, because it's gonna balance itself out and you're just not gonna get the best grade. What you need to do is make sure you have balance, because at the end of the day, both of these papers or 3 of these papers together are gonna make your grade. It's not just one. So you really need to make sure that you're a balanced person in everything that you do. So how I would tackle this is that in the run up to exams, if I know I have a paper 1 coming, obviously I'm gonna revise that paper 1. I'm gonna do the past papers, I'm gonna watch videos on my weakest topics, and I'm gonna put my all in for that paper. But as it's coming closer, you have to realize that there's not too much you can do. Like, you can't learn the whole specification in one day. Like, everything that you've been learning before, that will come to you in the exam. It's time to start prioritizing the paper that's coming forward, because before you know it, you're literally going to be in that exam hall doing the paper 2. So always do the paper 2 as the paper 1 comes. Don't just wait until paper 1 is finished to start doing paper 2s, because you'll realize that you have too much to do. And the thing is, with most subjects, paper 2 is actually the harder paper. It has the most hard topics which you've just been taught, so it's really important to reinforce that knowledge from the start of exam season, so you're not too stressed when it comes. For subjects such as maths, last minute revision does not work. So what I would recommend is that you implement maths throughout your exam period. Just be revising it every day or every other day. You can start off with small stuff such as corporate 5 a day, or you can do bigger things like exam papers. The thing with maths is that you don't really have to do the entire exam paper in one sitting. You can just do parts of it and then mark it if you don't have time to sit the whole thing. It's just about the continuous practice and the continuous exposure to questions that helps, because at the end of the day, these questions are going to be repeated in some way, shape or form. Maths is not one of those things where they can just throw something that we've never seen before. It's always going to be something that's implemented in a past paper. So do as many past papers as you can. That's with everything in general. You need to do all of the past papers if you can and go through them. Let's say you did a past paper in January. That doesn't mean you still don't have to do it again. You need to go back to that past paper, see what you did wrong, and then do those questions again. That's the only way that you're going to improve. And I'm not gonna lie, it's always those questions that you think it's not going to come up, so you're like, oh, it's not that deep, if I didn't get full marks, that come up. So guys, be very careful. As well as this, make sure you use your mocks to plan what you need to revise. So not only should you look in your mocks, but you should ask yourself, what are the hardest topics in these papers? Write down from paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, what are these hardest topics that I'm kind of scared of or that I'm weak at. Write those down. Before the exam comes, you need to make sure you revise them, because no weak spot should be left before you enter that exam hall. Now let's talk about step 2, which is to strategize. So this is different from the first step, because it's really about what should you actually be doing on your day-to-day basis. You've planned what days you have, what you need to revise, and when you need to revise it, but now you need to think, okay, now what am I actually going to do? Because there's some effective things you should be doing during this time that could make or break your grade grade. There's even things that can change your grade from like a 6 to a 9, and there's things that you're literally wasting your time, that you could be doing something else. So I'm gonna tell you what I would do if I was back in this exam period. Don't go day by day and not planning what you're gonna do. Oh, maybe today I should do a bit of algebra. Oh, maybe today I should do a bit of cell biology. No, that's how you mess yourself up, because your brain is gonna want to do things that are easier. Your brain is gonna want to do topics that, oh, I like this topic, so let me just do it. That's not what you want to do during this time. It's better to do the hard things now than to do them for the first time in the exam. That's the truth. I'm telling you that now. If you wake up one day and you have like physics paper 2 coming and you're a bit nervous, not only do you need to do a past paper of paper 2, you need to go into the topics that you did the worst in that past paper, and in general you should watch a video on that topic, and then you should do exam questions on that topic in particular. This seems like a lot, but honestly guys, once you do this, you'll start to realize that exams will come a lot easier. One thing that kind of got me is that sometimes I wouldn't have enough time to do a whole past paper. So that brings me on to today's sponsorship, which is Seneca Learning. If you guys haven't heard of Seneca Learning and get to know it, like I actually don't know where you've been, but it's time to learn it, especially during this exam period. Seneca Learning is an amazing online learning platform, and it has so many different courses, so many different subjects. It's honestly a lifesaver. In exam period, it's so important to mix up your revision. You can't just be doing the same thing on and on every single day, because ultimately you're gonna get bored, you're gonna get tired, you're gonna get burnt out. So Seneca Learning really helps you to mix up your revision, change the way that you've been revising, and also help you revise for longer. So what I really like about Seneca Learning is that they have different features. The one feature basically teaches you the specification. Let's say there's a lesson that you weren't paying attention in. This will basically break it down, and it's also interactive so that you have to engage with the content. This helps you to memorize it for longer. As well as this, there's some new and amazing premium features, which honestly, if I had them during GCSEs, it would have been a game changer. There's one called the mini mock. So as I said before, I really struggled sometimes to sit a whole paper, because some of these papers are like 2 hours. I might not have time for that on a day-to-day basis. So what I really like about mini mocks is that you can basically set the topics that you want to do. You can set the kind of questions that you want, whether you want calculator questions, the hardest questions possible, whatever you want, and then you set an amount of time that you want to sit it for. This not only helps you to do it in time conditions, it also helps to target your weaknesses. Seneca really knew what they were doing when they made this feature. And also guys, I'm not one to advocate for cramming, but Seneca's cramming mode is absolutely amazing. So Seneca cramming mode basically allows you to pick the topic that you want to go through, and it quickly condenses the topic and tests you on the topic as well. Revising during exam period can be really hard, and with the additional stress of having constant exams, it can be hard to just want to sit down and revise. But I feel like Seneca really helps you do this, and also helps to make revision not as boring as it has to be. Seneca is free for all students, so what are you waiting for? Be sure to check it out using the link down in the description, and let me know how you get on. So when you have your to-do list, like you know what you're gonna do, let's not stretch it. Be for real with yourself. Don't come and say you're gonna do 7 past papers in one day. I promise you now, it's not gonna happen, and you're gonna be very upset when it doesn't. So what I would recommend is maximum. I feel like maximum you could do is like 3 past papers a day, but you have to realize at the end of the day, past papers, it's not just to do them that's effective. It's to go through them, memorize the answers, and then also see why you're getting things wrong, and then to do those questions again the next day. So it's not just about getting through as much past papers as you can, but it's about using them effectively. That will really change the game. When you get home after a day of doing exams, please take some rest. I know this is like a 30-day period, and you're thinking, oh, it's not possible to burn out during this period. You can burn out like within the first 2 weeks. So what you need to realize is that rest is more important than anything else, and you need to make sure that you're very realistic with your rest. Like if you know you need like 1 hour, give yourself the 1 hour. If you know you need like 30 minutes and that's enough, that's fine. One thing I'm going to tell you now, don't go on TikTok during this 1 hour, because you're actually wasting your time. Not only are you feeding yourself with cheap dopamine, when you finish that 1 hour, you're not going to want to go back. You might even not even realize that you've been doing it for 1 hour. So what I would recommend is delete TikTok, especially if it's addicting for you. During your break, watch a TV show that's just long enough for your break. Then once that's finished, turn off the TV and go do your work. The thing about this exam period is that it will show you how serious you actually are, because it's so easy to just be like, oh, I'm really tired, let me just watch this show, and then you watch it for 3 hours. Once you give yourself the 1 hour, stick to it, because every time that you don't stick to it, your brain is thinking, I don't need to be serious, like I don't need to follow that, I can just do whatever I want. It's 1 month of hard work for amazing grades. So guys, you've got this, come on. So moving on, something that I also enjoyed doing before the exam was video summaries of entire papers. I'll show the ones that I used to watch, and I feel like these really helped for my confidence. It wasn't about learning anything new, but it was just about reinforcing all of this knowledge and just making sure that I knew everything. One thing that could really help you when you're watching these videos is that you could pause the video and blurt down what the slide would be, and I feel like this helps to not only make it less passive, but also helps you to revise everything at once. So now let's move on to stage 3, which is limitation. I know you guys want to get good grades, but what I'm going to tell you might shock you, but you shouldn't revise too much before an exam. exam. Like the day before exam, you shouldn't revise too much for that exam, because ultimately what matters in exams, especially like the day before, is the confidence that you have, is the level of faith that you have in yourself. If you start doing things that you haven't been doing before, like you open someone else's notes the day before exams and start reading through it, your stress levels are gonna be on 100 and you're gonna be so stressed the next day. I would really recommend keep doing what you've been doing before. Do that summary video if you want to, but don't do anything that's really new or anything that will throw you off, because like you guys need to know that once you walk into the exam hall, you can know every single thing on the specification, but if you're so anxious, if your heart is beating out of your chest, if your mind is going all over the place, some of that information might not come back to you, or you might not even answer the question properly. You could also read the question wrong, which means that you get no mark. I know the first few exams will be hard. Once you do a few, you'll kind of get desensitized, so please use this confidence in every exam that you do. And also, a lot of people ask me, how did I actually get a grade 9? And when I tell you guys, the thing that really did it for me was my confidence level. Like, I'm not trying to big myself up, but every single time I walked into an exam, even if I was like, this exam is, let's not lie, this exam is a bit hard, I was like, I'm gonna get a grade 9, I'm gonna get full marks, I'm gonna get the best grade possible. Because at the end of the day, telling yourself that is not gonna do any harm, like it's not really hurting anyone. So I feel like that's something that you should be telling yourself the day before as well, because that just really helps to calm you down. Even if it's a bit delusional, I feel like sometimes it's okay to be delusional when it comes to building yourself up, because it will really help you. And as well as this, you set yourself a time. For example, I think mine was like 10:30. After that, laptop shut, go to bed. There's only so much you can do before an exam. You need to just make sure that you have good rest. Find a balance between making yourself confident and also having sufficient rest, because your brain works so much better when you've slept well. I would say a night of good sleep is much better than a night of cramming. And I think for the most part, the last thing that you should do the day before your exam is just make sure you're okay with the structure of your exam, the way you're going to write your essays, and also just like the way the exam works, because at the end of the day, some of the questions are going to throw you off. You might not know the answer, and that's actually fine, but so long as you know the structure of how to write the essay or the structure of how to answer the question, that will get you some marks. And honestly, you can use content from other places or kind of just guess it, and that could actually help you in the exam. I'm not gonna lie, there were some things in my paper like I literally just had to guess it. Like I actually wasn't really sure, and it worked out for me in the end. So guys, just have faith in yourself and just take it easy the day before. Now stage 4, the big exam day. What should you be doing? Should you be revising? How does it work? So what I would say is, on your exam day, don't do anything that you haven't been doing before. But anything that can affect your performance and increase your anxiety level, don't do it. Anything that can mess your stomach up, that your stomach will start bubbling when you're in the exam, don't do it. I'm the type of person who says I don't revise on the day of my exam, but I'm kind of like, I'm low-key lying when I say that. I won't do any big revision. I won't bring out exam papers and start sitting them, but I do like to watch those video summaries, especially if I'm not feeling that confident about the exam, as I said before, because they just really help. Like, you just get to go through everything. Not doing anything sometimes makes me anxious, so just doing something helps me with my confidence. It's all about my confidence at this point. I'm not actually learning anything new on the day of the exam. And what I also make sure I do is that I stay away from everyone. You won't even see me until like 5 minutes before the exam. If you get anxious by stuff like this, I do, and I really don't like when people ask me questions. Go by yourself, go to the toilet, go hide, and then go to the exam when it's time to go. Don't be testing yourself and don't be testing your friends. Be very careful when it comes to this. Now what I want to say, in the last minutes before your exam, have some quiet time. Breathe. If you want to pray, go pray. If you want to do some breathing exercises, don't go do that. You don't want to feel rushed, so make sure you come to school on time. Don't be doing your last minute. Come to school like at least like 20-30 minutes early. Also, when you're walking into the exam, tell yourself what I always told myself: you're gonna get an amazing grade, you're gonna do the best that you can, and you guys have got this. Like, you guys, you've been watching my videos since the start. I just want to thank you guys for watching. You're watching this video right now, so I know that you're serious and I know you want to get good in your exam. So I wish you the best of luck. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you check out Seneca in the description down below. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.